You are listening to 15 Minutes, the show with Osiris Munir, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, everybody. It is Osiris with 15 Minutes the show. Okay, the scene looks a lot different. You have no idea how life changes so suddenly. I am at the LA Talk Radio station. We were at the Nirvana Studios Hollywood. We have now upped our game. Yes, we have a big audience now. I don't have to worry about the scrunching the numbers on YouTube. I have a lovely office. I am here with the owner and founder of the station. He's not here in with the room with me. However, his name is Sam Hasson, and he is the founder. In February 2008, Sam set out to carry out a dream and a vision he had to start an LA radio talk station. So he started it in like a small, comfortable, luxurious room downtown in LA on the 36th floor. They had this big panoramic view. Well, they went from, I believe, from 3 daily shows to 6 weekly shows, and the rest, as they say, is history. So now back to me. Don't forget to subscribe to LA Talk Radio, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also going to be on other platforms, so you'll be seeing more of me, and I'll be seeing more of you, and that's a wonderful thing. So our topic for the day, we are having our first guest next week. So the shows will go from once a month. The once a monthly show is now going to be a once weekly show. Yes, people, I am here to tell you and erase, try to help you feel better about life, about yourself, and everything else that goes along with that. So we're going to be here on Thursdays from 1 to, I think it's 1 to 1:50 or 1:50. It's like a 10-minute for the other person to come in and set up. But you'll have me all by yourself until then. So let's get into it. So the latest I want to talk about is the whole, I know a lot of people, entertainment-wise, because that's our background, it's entertainment and arts culture. So I just want to say a little bit about the DIDDY, not a little bit, because we're now talking for 45 minutes instead of 15, but that shouldn't be a problem. So let's talk a little bit about DIDDY, Jay-Z, Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Cosby, all of these men that have fallen short of their virtuous personalities, their virtuous behaviors, because of something that they have done that is deemed by the public to be absolutely horrendous. Now, given the fact that these things go on all the time, a lot of people are doing these things. A lot of people are doing dark. In the dark, behind the dark, doing witchcraft, practicing negative energies, all of those things lead to nothing. They lead to demise. So, one thing I wanted to talk about was the effect of behavior and our behavior as how we walk through our life. So, being in entertainment, I've had the honor, and in some cases not honor, of meeting a lot of these people. So I have actually met Bill Cosby. He was one of our clients at William Morris back in the day. I have actually been around Diddy. I've been around these people, but I wasn't the go-to girl. I wasn't the cute girl with the whatever hair and the little whatever you need to get these people's attention, and I didn't want it. I wanted to learn entertainment, to be creative, to meet other creative people that are being creative. Now, when I got in entertainment industry, I had no idea that all of this was going on. Most people don't know all this stuff goes on. You're looking at, I want to be a star, I want to be a singer, I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be a model, all of these different aspects of entertainment that people can strive to be. So I don't know about everybody else. I'm the little naive girl coming in, getting into a big agency like William Morris, starting off at a smaller independent place called Spotlight Enterprises, which is a comedy agency. So Jamie Foxx, Jay Leno, uh, a lot of your Damon Wayans, they all came out of Spotlight. Spotlight was the first ever comedy agency to ever book comics and take them from being nothing on the street like nobody paid attention to comics, to giving them honor and bringing respect to what they do in terms of their craft. So back to I end up at William Morris, so that's how I met a lot of these people going to very specific kinds of events that only the agencies can go to. A lot of time, the agents will give you their press things, let you go in on their behalf. They're very busy. They have other clients. You know, you're the young person coming in on the floor for the first time. You want to get to know everything. You want to do everything, go everywhere, meet everybody. That's how I was 20 something, 30 something now. 40 something years ago. I wanted to meet everyone. I was young, vigorous, blah, blah, going to meet everybody. So you meet these people and you get to watch a lot of behavior. You get to watch things you don't know why or necessarily understand why people are doing. You think, well, is that what's required to be in these upper echelon circles of fame, or is this a sham, or I'm not really made like that, but I still have a strong desire, as anybody would, to be creative, to, go here, be there, be seen, share something. Everybody got something to share. So I wanted to share mine like everybody else does. So you get to be around these people and you watch behavior. So now let's move up years later. Okay, all of us have gotten older. Everybody's matured. Careers have come and gone. People were stars. Now they're in their mature years. So now there are other newer people coming on the market. So the entertainment industry in general is like a meat market where you are good. You're prime. If you're prime rib, you're just fresh off the market, prime rib. That's all the kids, everybody that's coming in, you're new, you're fresh. You got the world ahead of you. You're going to blow up, ride the wave, and then the wave is going to die down. That's when reality hits. That's when you're not so young. That's when the work gets divided into other kind of ways, things like that. So it's sometimes the human ego has a difficulty letting go of what it perceives to be true. Like, no, you are not a person that people are going to revere for the rest of their life. Somebody else is going to come along and take your place, probably better than you. I hope somebody does come along and take. I always feel like you should train or make somebody develop them to take your place, because at some point we're all going to be topsoil. So that's what I got to see. A lot of parties, a lot of being around all of these people, and they don't know who I am. They're not paying attention to me, but I certainly am paying attention to them. People like Jaguar Wright is in, she was a person. Actually, I think MCA was around when we were on the label at MCA and Blue Thumb and all those. I think she was around then. I think she was. But anyway, those people, a lot of people watch, and you never know who's watching you. That's why we should all be careful about our behavior and what we do, and not forget that at the end of the day, everyone is always looking for something negative to talk about. There are people that live on negativity, live on shit stuff, just to have negative stuff going on, make them feel alive, like they have something to do, because obviously they don't understand their sense of purpose, that they haven't discovered themselves or whatever. So back to Diddy Epstein, the reason I brought that up. So I did a show maybe about 2 or 3 months ago, it had to be. And the show was on karma. And I am a practicing Orthodox Buddhist. That means that I do the stuff the way old school. We old school. So I wanted to share something. A lot of people will say, oh, I practice Buddhism. I practice Zen. Zen is very popular. The difference in between Zen and what we do, which is Orthodox Buddhism, is what Siddhartha practiced. And eventually a guy came along by the name of Nichiren Daishonin. He discovered another way to do it, kind of like your modern day kids. And today, well, yeah, we're going to do the same thing, but let's find a quicker, more efficient way, and let's make it accessible to everyone, not just the upper celebrities, not just the upper echelons, your high priest, your people in high roles and honor the people in the cloth. Let's make it for everyone. So this guy came along and did just that. So when Siddhartha stepped outside of his temple, he found out that he was living in this big high rise. I don't know how it looked back in the day, but it was some high rise building. And he's hanging out there, and around the castle are like bombs and people laying around with no food. India, come on now, India, the seat of Brahma, that kind of religious path over there. People were laying around, and he started wondering, like, well, what the hell is going on? How can I enjoy my fruitful life if everybody else around me is suffering? That's no fun. I mean, can you imagine eating and having a plentiful meal, and there are people around you in beggars' clothes, barely starving, some of them skeletal like, and you're eating there all pompous, thinking you got yourself together, and not. These people are starving. So he set out to do something about it. So that's how Orthodox Buddhism was formed. And then it spread. It spread to China, Korea, all over Asia, Africa, everywhere. It spread and eventually ended up in the United States, I believe, in the early mid 60s. So you had two organizations pop up. One that went against the traditional Christianity, stuff like that. Let's find another way to do it. Obviously, people are not, there's no self development involved. So, yeah, you have uh, people that are religious, but they don't necessarily understand the law of cause and effect, which leads me to what I wanted to say about karma. So, according to what I've been taught and what I learn, and I do a lot of studying because I was not born a Buddhist, I was born another practitioner of another religion, and then ran into Buddhism as a result of searching for something that I felt would actually change me, that everybody could see. I don't know what you're doing, like my parents said, but you look different, you act different, whatever it is, keep doing it. So then they were really against that when I first started. So they came to honor and respect me for what I chose to believe in. So back to karma. So according to what I understand, karma is formed by our day-to-day thoughts, our actions, and our behaviors. So we are human. We don't go around necessarily monitoring what we're going to do every day. If you are a self-aware person, you do. You will pay attention to your behavior. You will watch how you speak to other people, even how we treat ourselves. We will be looking at those kinds of things. But if you are not self aware and just the regular, average, everyday person, you go to work, you come home, you get mad, you fall in love, you have sex, you eat, you every human daily life without paying any homage to your internal self, then that's where a lot of problems arise. So karma, according to again what I understand and what I have lived and experienced myself from coming from a hole in the ground to the person you see sitting here now. I was not always this version of me, people. I was once somebody else, a very not dark. I've never been dark. I've never practiced witchcraft, magic. I don't do that. I don't need to manipulate and control people. I've always had energy to do my own and get my own. But the thing is that I had negative thinking about myself. I was always thinking about suicide. I was always thinking about, I don't want to be here. I don't belong here. I don't belong here. I don't fit my race. What they believe in, I don't believe in. I had all of these things mentally, including a childhood that was not very supportive. And my mother and my father were both present in the home. But when you're one of those children that people don't really understand, and you're an artist and you don't know you're an artist, and they have never ever themselves witnessed an artist living and breathing amongst their own family, didn't know what to do. So I got scolded a lot. I got, put in situations where I was intimidated a lot, fearful. Little country girl, never been nowhere, done nothing. But my dad and my brothers and my uncles, and one of those women that have had the privilege of growing up around a lot of men that were very protective men, um, had a lot to, do and wanted to say, and wanted to know more about the depths of life and what life has to offer. So I did not have very good karma when I was growing up. let's just say I had heavy karma. I was unhappy. I was in an unhappy family, you know. My parents were good, solid people. They took care of us, did the things that you do when you have your children. But I don't think parents are necessarily equipped to deal with the inner dwelling of people, you know, your children. As people, we present a certain mask to the world. We present a certain mask to our parents, a certain mask to others, and in some cases, a certain mask to ourselves if we're not honest with ourselves. And a lot of people aren't honest with themselves. They want to blame an environment, not blame themselves. So karma is formed by all of those kinds of things. Sitting around thinking negative every day, watching the news, you know, you mad at folks ain't got nothing to do with you. People gay, what they have to do with you? Unless you're gay yourself, unless you're scared or something's triggering something to you, what does somebody else's lifestyle have to do with us? What does somebody else? But all of these things, what I would say, sit inside of us as individuals. Unhappy emotional turmoil, fighting with the spouses, friends, family. I know people not speaking to their relatives for years. How do you not speak to people for years later and you've grown from being a child into supposedly an adult, into someone that is in high honor and high caliber and high regard? How do we do those things and not feel that we should be accountable? Number one, let's take some responsibility. Okay. Yes. A lot happens as when we are children. A lot of families are really screwed up, and I mean screwed up. Should have never had no kids. Shouldn't have ever thought of kids. They themselves probably shouldn't have even been born. And we don't have to call any names. We've heard of people like Jeffrey Dahmer, you know, people like Charles Manson, all of these kind of people that have done ill will, powerful, powerful enough to draw people into their aura, into their energetic fields, powerful enough to get women, men, or whatever, the children in some cases. Jim Jones, manipulative. We have had all of those people throughout history come up on the face of the earth and challenge what our so-called good behavior is supposed to be and our so-called bad behavior is supposed to be. So we go from day to day with all of these challenges, dwelling inside, smiling in our faces on one hand, and behind that lovely, beautiful face, or that ugly, scowled face, or that negative face, or that sad face, or that inquisitive face, or that curious face, or that happy face, dwells an individual inside that we probably may not have any clue whatsoever what goes on. That's how good we are at masking. And at some point in life, those masks will have to come off. And like my mother always said, my mother had a lot to say. She was mean in a lot of ways. Like she was really strict with the girls. There's only two of us, the rest were boys. She was very lenient with the boys, but very strict on the girls. And as I got older, I understood why. So I held no ill will against her, although there was quite a bit of damage done. But I had no or held no ill will. They were first generation, second generation out of slavery, didn't know how to treat each other, didn't know kindness or love. So that those things were passed on to people in my generation. So you're out here, we're out here every day doing these things. So by the time I got to a certain age, I was nothing but suicidal. I was nothing but ready to get out of here. Didn't know anything about karma and the law of cause and effect. My mother was very religious. My father was an atheist. He did not believe in a God. He believed in whatever he believed in, that, pretty much you should take responsibility for your own stuff, which I eventually came to understand why he felt like that. My mother, on the other hand, had lived a very hard childhood, lost her parents very young, raised by her sisters, they were raised in a generation, real small town. My mother and my aunts and those people. Come on, Paducah, Texas, I think is where they were from. It's like a dot or something. It's not even probably a city that somebody would pay attention to. And you have all of these activities, with all of these things going on from day to day, no matter where we all are, no matter what location in Paducah, Texas, Waco, where I'm from, Amarillo, anywhere on the planet, overseas, over here, anywhere, all the time, there are energies that are going on and things that people are doing that lend to the law of cause and effect. Again, I had no idea that my negative thinking was causing negative things to happen to me. I was just negative thinking. I feel bad, I feel messed up, and I'm gonna think of that. I'm just gonna be in my pity party. I don't care. But once I became self aware and I found out that Zen meditation, yeah, I did some Zen before I became a Nichiren Shoshi Buddha. I did some Zen. And what happened is that, yeah, I was calm and cool and I was a little bit, able a little bit to calm my stress, but I still had all kind of problems going on. Not just my stuff, other people's stuff. You got to deal with I had children, by the time I got 21, I had two children. I'd had two kids. No, one 21, the other 6 years later. So 27, 28, somewhere in there. Two kids. Still no self development, intelligent person. Oh yeah, I believe in God and a God, and I believe in all that. Then what is wrong with me? Why are things bad happening to me? What's wrong? If I'm such a good person and my parents went to church and my aunts and grandmothers and they were all God fearing religious people, and just lives were just in a mess. And y'all out there know what I'm talking about. Don't try to say that you don't know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I mean. Covered up in religious behavior, going home, mistreating their wives, men out drinking. I mean, my uncles and my dad, even at some point, they just stopped being big whores, drinking and going on, and just not doing right at home, not doing proper behavior that I would think anyone that says they are godlike would want to be doing. So there we again, we have P. Diddy, we have Jeffrey Epstein, we have Cosby, and everyone else out there that is in a big enough position that you have to really be careful about your behavior. So when we accept these roles in life that put us in a public position or a public situation, even more so, watch behavior, watch what's said, watch the actions that are taken, watch how we're treating ourselves and other people. Watch all of that because other people are watching always. I'm sitting here right now. These people out there can't stand me just because they don't really know me or they don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe their lives are very small or their lives only deal with a certain limited faction. I've had a very big life and a very broad life. And when I tell you broad, that's what I mean. As a woman of color, I've had the opportunity to intermingle with people from all over the world, being in the military, coming out of the military, going into a situation working for a university, one of the uh, at the time is one of the top universities. They weren't calling them state universities yet; they were calling them colleges. And then Sonoma State, Chico, they all became state universities. They graduated from the college up to state. So, I'm in all of these things, not knowing who I was around. I mean, I'm around Dr. Maya Angelou, Intizaki Shanghai. Um, geez, just people coming in and out of Sonoma State. Here, little country girl. See how you can be country. And I don't mean growing up in a country. I mean just small, a mind that's small and never been exposed to a not only a bigger public arena, but a globe of people. So I'm going from a small community, my mom, my dad, and my aunts and uncles who live next door, my grandmother who lived 2 doors down, the neighbors next door, and then my aunt across the street, our cousins across the street, our other cousins, like a small African village to now the U.S. worldwide Navy. And you're meeting people from everywhere, Jersey, New York, uh, some people from Canada. I mean, all kind of people, that happen to come into the United States and find themselves in peculiar situation and decided to go into the military. So when I got into the military, they started calling me cool kid, for KK, cool kid. So I'm like, okay, I must be cool. These people like me. So they kind of took me under their wings. I've always been a person that people like because I don't really have any ill will. I don't care what you're doing in your private life. That's your business. I don't have time. I'm born to do something. And most people that have a mission, we have no time to deal in petty thoughts and petty behavior and worrying about what the neighbor's doing or something like that, unless it's something that is going on that affects an entire neighborhood, the neighbors murdering people and burning them under the house, then yes, you should be concerned. And yes, but other than the neighbor's personal life, they smoke cigarettes, they're smoking marijuana, they whatever they do, that's their business. If our lives are full, we don't have time to worry about everybody else. So, these little small minded people, here I am in the big world. I'm in the Navy now, so I'm coming and going to this here. I start meeting people from Jersey and New York and Philadelphia. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the game. So they all thought here's this cool little girl, cute, she's never been anywhere. Let's just kind of take her up under our arms and help her spread her wings and break her life out of silent mode into a very active life. Now, during this time, I started sending my parents money. I didn't need it. I mean, the Navy, the military takes care of you. You really don't, at that time, I didn't know I needed it. I could have been saving it had I peeped a little bit into my future, but I was still living in my past and presently there in my past at that time. So, I was sending them stuff and traveling and learning all these things, getting in riots. Oh, yeah, I got into a big riot. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I have been to jail once in my life for rioting at the Norfolk, Virginia Naval Base. We all got in trouble for rioting. I had a big old black afro on my head at the time. And they used to call me KK, and they used to say, you like Angela Davis. And I went on to eventually meet Angela Davis and do a story on her. But you remind us of Angela Davis. You have this big old afro, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I whined and I cried. And there were some very bad things that happened to me in the military as well. I don't have to go into them. A lot of women have been defiled. A lot of women have been. I will say, and I'm going to say this, I don't know how I'm going to say it or how I might want to put it, but I think that I began to understand karma in the military because all of these things, again, I always had a circle of people around me that didn't like me. They didn't even know me. They just didn't like me for whatever reason. Maybe it's the way I looked or what I said or how I acted, whatever. I don't know. And didn't care really because I didn't know them. And they weren't that important for me to try to get myself all up in arms. And my mother had already, we had already grown up with our parents were very intellectual type parents, smart, two Librans, smart, intelligent people. One had a birthday, they're both gone now. But one had a birthday on 2nd, now they have a birthday on 19th of October. But anyway, very smart. So they would tell us things like, you were born with a brain, use it. And my dad wouldn't allow us to go and ask him questions. It's annoying. Don't you know how to use a dictionary? The Webster, at that time it was Webster, not online. The Webster, not Google. Go and get the Webster dictionary. Go and get it. Look up the word, spell the word, first of all. Spell the word. Then go look for the word you spelled and find the meaning of the word and come here and tell me the meaning of the word. I mean, we got no breaks. That little stuff y'all doing, please. And then half of us out here don't even want to use Google. Even when we get it easy, we still lazy. Still lazy. And wonder why our lives are not working. So here I am traveling the world. I'm hip, I'm cool, I'm doing all these things. Meanwhile, I am having the mushrooms, acid, not afraid to tell anybody. I'm a living proof here to tell the story. All kinds of goodies. They had the good stuff back in the day. Only to find out years later, all of these things are now being prescribed in certain doses for mental stability, to stop insanity, to feel grounded and realistic in the world, so we don't make these kind of curious mistakes that these other people have made. So as we go through life, unlike I'm sure Diddy and all of these, Cosby and all of them, they're living, while I'm doing all this stuff, they're also doing something at another timeline on the same planet. You get it? Another timeline on the same planet. I'm in a room, you where you are. I'm in a different timeline. I'm sitting in a room on a mic. You're in your living room or wherever you are, in a car, whatever you're doing to listen. Other people are in other parts of the building. These are different timelines, people. So when people say things to you like fifth dimension, fourth dimension, seventh dimension, ninth dimension, it shouldn't sound all wooey woo to you. If you've got any kind of sense of all at all, then you should understand exactly what people are talking about. I don't know what Diddy's doing right now. We don't know either. And the news is telling you what they want us to know. I'm in the news. They set it up to tell you what they want you to know. So don't go judging, don't go putting down, or even making analysis over things that we have. No, I don't know what all these people did. But karmically, they put themselves based on their behavior, based on their thinking, whether it was erroneous, incorrect, negative, or whatever, their egos, their self centeredness, their ego-centered personalities put themselves or found themselves in a situation where karma came to call. Cause and effect showed up, you know. So again, karma is thoughts, words, actions, deeds. Be careful what you do. Be careful what you say. We're always under a light. And even if we're not under a human light, we are under a multiversal light. And I say multiversal because universal is just too small for a multiverse. It's too small. I stopped using the word God. It just became too small for me at some point in my life. I had to say multiverse. I had to go to another word because there are so many things that happen in life that we really don't understand. I don't understand why some people get caught and other people don't. But I do understand enough about karma to know why that might have happened. As I started out saying, a lot of people are doing these things. They've yet to get caught, or have they? Maybe they got caught and we'd never even heard about it. There are people doing things right now I can't see, you can't see. But if they get caught, all of a sudden, it becomes the environment's problem. It becomes the parents. It becomes the society. It becomes the political people. They made me do it. It's like somebody robbing a bank and saying, well, if you hadn't left the door open, I wouldn't have went in there and robbed it. No, if you had had some mental discipline and really understood what righteous and correct behavior is, then perhaps we wouldn't find ourselves in some of these situations. Now, I didn't blame my parents. I started seeking. Something must be going on that I don't understand. I was just miserable. I mean, miserable. I mean, I thought I was ugly inside and out. I was like, look, I'm gonna kill myself any day if somebody else don't kill me. And consequently, I was drawing all of these negative situations without thinking, what is your radio station putting out? Like right now, this radio station it's emitting a radar. The radar is big. It covers whatever it covers. So as uh, practitioners of meditation, practitioners of, I'm a chanter, I'm sending out all these like signals. My voice is sending out signals to you. The way I say it, how I say it, my tone. If I go like this, that sounds a lot different than if I go like this, doesn't it? If I say, hey, what's up, people? And I say, hey, what's up, y'all? Don't that sound different than what I just did? So we all have the ability to play all of these different roles that may or may not serve us to our best, depending on our level of intelligence, our mental capacities, what we were taught as children, how we have learned from the environment and people that are around us, how they've affected our. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Definitely everyone around us influences us, which is why we should be careful about who we bring into our energetic field. I personally, I prefer to be alone. I love people, but if I don't get recharged, I cannot be and give all this energy out like I have to give every day to people you have never heard of and never known, and they need it, and I don't have it if I don't get recharged. So one thing you learn to do is you learn to take care of yourself. Then, if we understand the laws of cause and effect and karma, karma is also formed over long periods of time. Huh. Case in point, I got a good one for you. Someone personal to me. The man has been cheating for years. People like him, women, men, a lot of people cheat. I'm not calling anyone out. I'm just saying this is a behavior, and I'm going to explain to you how karma can come over long periods of time. We get so used to doing wrong and doing things it looks like we're getting away with. Oh, we just been taking a little bit of money off the top of the cash register at the job. We ain't got caught yet. Oh, we've been lying about somebody just a little bit, you know, day by day, year by year. We just keep on doing the same thing, you know. We've been doing wrong, we've been saying things to one person and doing another behind their back over a long period of time. Then finally, one day, boom, federal law shows up. What happened? All of a sudden, the public, if you're in the public audience, sometimes if you're not in the public eye, if you do something against the laws of the land and you get caught, your karma for not knowing when to stop and not correcting and not being able to correct your own behavior. Ain't nobody's fault but our own. Our own. Nobody told us to do all of that. Who tied Cosby hands? Who tied? And they got money on top of that. They have money to play. They can pay to play to pay. They got all of that. And still no common sense to know that you are a public figure and everything you do will be called to the carpet because so many eyes on you. Jealous eyes, envious eyes, daunting eyes, loving eyes, caring eyes, snake eyes, devil eyes. They're all out there watching, waiting for one of us to mess up so they can come along and shovel you and put you in a pile of shit with everything else that they have put in the pile. So the best thing to do is to understand cause and effect. Don't matter if nobody's seeing you. The multiverse sees all. Like my mother used to say, there are recording angels around us, and they record everything you do. And oh yeah, you may think, she's telling my brother this. Oh yeah, you may think you're getting away with some, but there's a package up the road with your name written all over it, to the point that we would go to the door looking for the package. Where's the package? I don't see a package, Mom. We didn't know, we were little kids, and they have all these Southern sayings that we just really didn't understand. But my brother's life ended in terrible, terrible the way his life ended, because of what he did. And too prideful. Other people out there, you got pride? Oh, let me tell you something about pride. Isn't pride, according to your biblical studies, one of the 7 sins? So I would think that's something that somebody would want to curb. I think you need a little bit of pride. I have to have pride. You have to have pride to go around and talk to people and look a certain way. You don't want to smell bad, look bad, act stupid or ignorant in a public forum or even around your families and friends. So yes, pride does come in handy a certain way. But when you're so prideful that we can't admit that we're wrong, that we are dishonest with ourselves and we end up being dishonest with other people, that kind of pride we don't need. You don't need that kind of pride. At the end of the day, we all have to sit down and look at ourselves and say, what kind of karma have I formed today? Did I curse the bus driver out that pulled in front of me on the way to the station today? Or did I take a deep breath and think about it and say, you know, that poor man probably had to get up. I know a few bus drivers in my life I've known. They probably had to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning. The poor thing's probably tired. Maybe he doesn't have a woman. Maybe he has one. Maybe they're not good to him. Maybe he's not good to them. Maybe he's got all kind of problems. That's the way my human mind had to get myself to think in order to pull myself out of that hellish state of anger, that hellish state of hell, and not make that one more negative cause that I really don't need on my karmic record right about now. So these men, because they're in public forums, all these eyes are on them. I don't know Diddy personally. I never wanted to know any of these people. I thought I did. And boy, am I glad that I didn't really get to, do some of the things that I had in mind that I thought was a part of what my dream should have been. And yes, I took the long way around and I'm mature and things are just happening to me and happening now, but boy, am I equipped to handle it. And I'm grounded and I'm focused and I kept my energy and I kept my wits and I kept going. I never stopped. I never compromised. I looked for the milk and honey that my grandmother used to tell me was on the other side of my doing right. And my mother used to say, you know, you're going to get yourself hurt because you wear your heart on your sleeve. And I never could not be like that. I'm just a nice person. I will get out of a car and walk an old person across the street because all the horns are blowing at them. Like you ain't never going to have to get old. Let me tell you something. If you live, you're going to get old. And they're never going to come up with a way to make you young. They may come up with some kind of false identity that has to do with some kind of inanimate object or some metal or some machine interaction or some technological engagement. There is nothing in this world more fascinating than the human mind. And because we don't know how to use it, we're making all kind of negative causes because we're so lazy that we have not come up with a way to develop the human mind internally. Everything is external. God external. Out there. Out there. Never thought maybe I need to do some changing. Maybe I wouldn't be an alcoholic if I'd stopped drinking so much. And maybe if I'd stopped drinking so much, maybe I could at one point or another get to myself too balanced as a balanced person enough that I could maybe have a little drink or two. But no, in my little mind, whatever I think I'm supposed to be, I've gotten myself into this situation. How? How? Who did it? Who? No, I'm not blaming you, and you shouldn't blame yourself, but you should correct, self-correct. Be honest. Sit in front of a mirror. Look, what have you done today that you know you're doing wrong and you messing up? So you can try to shift your karmic effect. So when you get at a certain age and the karma effect decides to come back and haunt you, you can stand there proud and tall and say, yeah, I did it. And I'm willing to take the rap for it. I did what they said I did. Not, now that the money's run out, the fame's run out, the fortune runs out, nobody cares about you anymore because you're damn near 90 years old. Nobody cares about you anymore because now, you don't look so cute today because you got trouble. You was fine 4 or 5 weeks ago. Even I would have dated you. But not now. You look ugly because it's the ugly inside that people are seeing. Not that beautiful outside that we can polish up every day. Put clothes on, put makeup on, learn the language, say things like speak spiritual terms and be lying. No behind your voice. No behind that voice, you going home and doing all kind of negative stuff. Come on. And then wonder why something all of a sudden my mama died, my dad saw this negative stuff start coming on. I don't know what's going on because you are not challenging yourself to change. I've had to really challenge myself. If you knew me from 30 years ago, I'm telling you, I was a mess. No, I've never been a dark person. dark in my own mind, but I've never treated people bad. I've mistreated people because I was stupid and didn't know what I was doing. But as soon as I understood my behavior, I corrected. I even called people years later and apologized to them, asked them, ask somebody that knows me, see if I didn't. Apologized. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. I know now. And I'm so sorry. And that's it. I just wanted to say I was sorry. Bold and brave enough to do things like that. Acts of kindness. It's not going to hurt you to give a homeless person a meal. Why? You could be homeless. I've been homeless. Somebody helped me. No, I never was out there like, oh, laying on the ground, because I had 2 children that made me want to do better. They made me want to be a better mother. They made me want to be a better woman. They made me want to be a better human being. And that's how I found Buddhism. And that's how I started chanting. And how I understood clearly what the law of cause and effect meant. It has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with self-development, looking at a mirror every day, making sure you're doing the right thing, even if everybody else is acting a fool, making sure you're doing the right thing, not trusting your friend, oh, girl or guy or whatever, you should be doing this. Don't let people tell you what to do. Use your own brain. That's why you got it. Yes, we can all listen to the advice of others. Ill will, some may be, because your friends are going to want it. They don't know the other person. The other person may have another side of their story. Yeah, Osiris chants every day, and it really does annoy me because I'm really not a Buddhist. She talks about astrology. That really might annoy me because, I'm not an astrologer. Well, those things annoy you. I may be the wrong person to be around. So rather than annoy them, be annoyed by them and put me down for what I believe in, what seems to be working, I don't see any negative things around me. I've gone through negative things, and yeah, things are around me, but most of the people around me, I am actually agreeing to help and want to help. You don't feel good? Let me talk to you. Let me put my hands, let me raise my hands up. Let me chant, send a positive energy towards you, something to lift your spirits. I'm not going to get in the hole with you and start saying, oh, you poor thing, I don't know why you suffer. I don't know why you're suffering, but I know you're suffering, and I know I want to help you stop suffering. I want you to be happy. That's how I spend my time doing things like that versus being negative towards myself, worrying about Trump and Kamala and who's going to win and what they're going to do to the country. Whatever they do, if you have your own mind and you know who you are, you will be able to move forward no matter who ends up running this country. No matter who ends up running the country, other than the lands of the law, or the laws of the land that we have to abide by, everything else is free will, baby. Free will, individual choice. Nobody's making us do wrong. Nobody's making us do anything we don't want to do. I have no chains on me. When I walk out this door, I walk out in my own free will. The only chains, if I have, they're in my own mind. And I'm here to tell you, if you have any chains on you, they're in your own mind. Slavery ended centuries ago. If you still feel enslaved, you better check yourself and better look in your own mind. Last thing I checked to read is free to learn. I go on Google. I'm just like fascinated by Google. Fascinated by Google, the things. So I just want to remind everybody before we get off air, I only got like maybe 2 minutes before we go. I don't want to remind everybody that we plan on having some very upcoming shows. You don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, 15 Minutes to Show, Ankh Entertainment, one.net for the blog, and Express and Abstract.net for my website. But please, I need your numbers. I want to talk to you. I want to help you understand how you get through life without falling so much. Save yourself some time and trouble. I wish I had known Diddy. I wish he had known somebody like me, or some of them had known somebody like me that doesn't just want to blow smoke up their ass, take their money, take their time, and be known looking around them. Somebody, look, man, you're doing wrong. And if you keep doing that, I can't hang with you. Maybe if they had had more people like that around them versus the other kind, they would end up better off. Okay? So don't forget what I've told you today. I'll see you next time. Don't forget, once a week, Thursdays, 1 to 1 to 50. I'll see you here. Sometimes I may be out there, but I'll still see you here nonetheless. Okay, but nice talking to you. Love, peace, and kindness always. Do to yourself. Treat others how you want to be treated. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. It's been a wrap. Bye.
You are listening to 15 Minutes, the show with Osiris Munir, only on LA Talk Radio.